Welcome back to Everlasting Summer Part 35, I think, because fuck checking what part we're actually on before I start recording. I became more and more afraid that we wouldn't leave the darkness in the mine. You couldn't rely too much on just the lighter. However, we reached the hole that led up to the catacombs quite fast. It seemed that I'd memorized the route after all. Good, they didn't make me run through it. We struggled to get up, scrambling over the rocks almost blindly. "Okay, where are we going to go now?" asked Alisa, getting her breath back. "What do you mean? We're going to go to that room with the bunks and the cabinets." "Which way is that?" "Well, the other way's fucking blocked off, so..." I opened my mouth to reply, but suddenly realized that I had not the slightest idea. "You memorized the way back, but you couldn't remember if you went down the hole this side or this side? Like, really?" The hole looked the same from all sides, just like the... oh, okay, whatever. Just like the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. We had not a single hint to indicate the right direction. "Well, don't you know?" Alisa asked sadly and sat on the ground. "No." I replied quietly, put out the torch to preserve it, and sat next to her. "Are we going to die here?" She rested her head upon my shoulder. Lisa's voice sounded flat, one might even say calm, but I could feel that her body was trembling, either with cold or with fear, or with both combined. "Don't be silly. Sure, things are getting worse, but they're still pretty far from we're gonna die. They'll come and rescue us in the morning. Olga will call police, so..." I would love to believe that myself. "I see. Yeah." I lost track of time sitting there. I was afraid to go forward or backward. I was afraid to make a choice, as our torch definitely wouldn't last both ways. Wandering in total darkness without any source of light was definitely worse than waiting for the rescue here. This way at least we would have some light left for an emergency. "I still know a way you'd be able to tell which direction you came from. The way you went into the hole is the opposite direction that you came out of. Like, you went one direction in the... on the tracks. Then when you came back towards the hole, so... you just know. From whichever direction you came at the hole, right? Whatever." Suddenly a rumbling started echoing in the distance. Well, here is that emergency. That was definitely the clank of door bolts mixed in with that rumbling. "Get up." Okay, I hit enter. I don't know if I... okay, I didn't skip that. Just skip the text spelling out. I harshly pulled Alisa to her feet and lit the torch with shaking hands. "What is it?" she asked in dismay. "I don't know, but it seems there's someone. We have to run." To be honest, I wasn't sure that it was such a good idea. What if the mad Shurik is there? And, in fact, that's the least of all evils that I can imagine. We had no choice left. The stones scattered beneath our feet. I desperately tried not to fall down, holding my hand with the torch out in front and dragging Alisa with the other. She ran along in silence, breathing heavily. I really wanted to look back at her, but didn't have the strength or time. Finally, the outline of the open door appeared before us, and I leaped into the bomb shelter, readying myself to fight any foe that was there. But the room was empty. Somehow I knew that was going to be the words. I swept my eyes across the room, trying hard to spot hidden monsters, Shurik, or any other evil entity, but it was all exactly the same as it was the first time we'd been here. Except for the door, the second door. It was open. "Somebody has passed through here," I spoke up triumphantly. "Who?" "I don't know. Maybe it was Shurik." "But how did he manage to open it?" "Who the hell cares? Come on." There was another corridor behind that door, and it was ascending slowly. So, we're getting closer to the surface. I was right. After several hundred feet, I stumbled upon a ladder leading to a small hatch on the ceiling. That's actually scared me. It didn't take much effort to open it. "What's up there?" "Who cares? It's better than staying down here anyway." I climbed the ladder and found myself surrounded by gloom. However, this gloom was definitely lighter than the darkness of the catacombs. As my eyes got more used to it, the outlines of the walls, the ladder, and the door leading to the outside were emerging in the pale moonlight. I helped Alisa to climb up, and we literally sprang out of the building. The exit from the catacombs, keeps calling it, was located in some sort of ruined building that resembled either a nursery or a country school. It must be the old camp. Alisa sat on one of the swings and wiped the sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. I see. So we found it after all. I smiled involuntarily. Involuntary? No, involuntarily is the word. What are you laughing at? She frowned and pouted with displeasure. Now that looks more like the face of someone who's going to murder you. To put it shortly, she'd returned to her usual self. Yeah, murder you. So, it's not scary here anymore? I wasn't scared there either. Oh, come on. That's right, I wasn't. Whatever. I was angry. I really felt hurt because of Alisa. If not for me, she would have still been down there in that damn mine. Where are you going? She asked in a less self-assured voice, as I turned around and walked slowly towards the camp. How do you know where the camp is? Back to the camp. Hey! Lisa jumped up right away and started to walk next to me. For a moment I wanted to say something nasty, but I wasn't ready to start the next argument. We found the... What is up with this music? We found the path we had taken before surprisingly fast. Even the 2 holes we'd fallen into. It's only about 200 meters from the old camp. I stopped at the square and turned to Alisa. Well... She looked uncertain, even confused. Then... Sure. Deep inside, I wanted to yell at her, to scold her, even to insult her. On the other hand, I wanted to have a meaningful conversation. In the end, I just kept silent, turned around, and slowly headed towards the leader's cabin, as well as opened up the, crap. Why do I always forget this? Alright, I've got the wiki open, the guide open, but something persistently disturbed the quiet of the night. I keenly listened to it and realized that it was the snoring of Shurik, who was sleeping peacefully on a bench. Hey! I called Alisa, who hadn't walked too far away. Get up, you. Shurik slowly came to his senses and stared at us blankly. Oh, it's gonna be bad for him. Oh, is it morning already? That was the wrong voice. Whatever. Morning? Yeah, sure. Sometimes one acts first, thinks later. Of course, it all starts in the brain. Then the current comes through the neural links, thereby transmitting the command to the body. But sometimes the subconscious just works faster than the consciousness. Subconsciousness. No, just subconscious. That's exactly why my fist swung and smacked Shurik in the gut. And it was only then that I realized what I'd done. He coughed, trying to catch his breath, and writhed in pain on the bench. What the hell was all that about? I already felt bad about it. I shouldn't have treated him so rough. What are you talking about? Shurik looked at me in shock. In the mine. What mine? He turned his head, completely confused. And why am I here? And why are you here? Stop fooling around. Alisa barged into the conversation. You nearly killed me there, and now you're going to pretend like nothing happened? What happened? You really don't remember? Not a thing. Okay, so what's the last thing you do remember? Shurik tried to concentrate. Well, I was on my way to the old camp in the morning. I knew I could find some hardware for the robot there, so... That's all. I don't recall anything since then. Then I just woke up here. I let out a heavy sigh as I turned away. Well, go ahead. Sweet dreams. Hey, where are you? I ignored Alisa and stumbled away to Olga's cabin. She stayed, arguing with Shurik. I sat in the deck chair and looked up at the stars. This night they seemed to be brighter than usual. Perhaps they seemed so because not too long ago, my only source of light was a dim flashlight, and then that torch. The stars are brighter than a flashlight and obviously a torch. Most of the stars, I guess, are even brighter than the sun, but they're so far away. So, why have you come? I asked without turning my head. Lisa's footsteps could be heard well in advance in the silence of the night. Except for this loud music, jeez. Well, what did Shurik say? He said that he doesn't remember anything, and that it's unscientific and nonsense like that. I think he really doesn't remember because of shock and stress. Who am I to say? I was in the same boat not too long ago. I'm still in it, though. Do I have amnesia? Well then, why did you come here? Then again, I guess I knew the answer. That's exactly why I hadn't gone to sleep, but waited for her here. Well, Alisa sat down next to me. Kind of wanted to thank you. After all, down there, no problem. I said gently and leaned back. Well, alright then. She got up and was going to go. If you think that I'm angry with you, I'm not. Everything's okay. I didn't actually think that. Lisa got worked up. Fine then. Okay. Yeah. Then. Just go already. I said just go already. What was the point of the exclamation point? I said kindly and waved my hand. I'll go when I want to. So now you don't want to? I want to. Well, is something preventing you from going? Moron. Alisa stamped her feet and quickly walked away from the leader's cabin. I took a deep breath and stood up. My head was terribly dizzy from fatigue. Well, at least Olga is sleeping already, and I won't have to explain anything. However, it wasn't that easy. The camp leader was standing in the middle of the room and was obviously preparing for a lengthy conversation. Or rather, for a debriefing. Would you care to explain? What's the matter? In fact, you didn't mind when we were going to search for Shurik. And what? Have you found him? Looks like she was more concerned about me coming back late than the fate of the lost pioneer. Yes, we have. By the way, why are you standing here in the darkness? What? I said, why in the darkness? Because it's time to sleep. Couldn't agree with her more, although I was slightly surprised by such an abrupt mood swing. I just barely stumbled to my bed and collapsed on it without undressing. But still, Alisa. Why the second Alisa? I just didn't know what I should think of her. It wasn't because she'd been acting strange recently. No, on the contrary, all of her behavior was quite consistent, and understandable. Even her returning to thank me. I thought of Alisa much more than anything else that had happened tonight. Although, if you get down to it, there was nothing supernatural about it. Who said anything about supernatural? Uncomfortable, sure. Frightening, even spine-chilling, sure. Something related to my arrival here? Hardly. These thoughts put me to sleep. Man, it's sad when you even bore yourself to sleep. Hell, we're already on day 5, and this is the second episode with Alisa's good route. A good ending. We only have two decisions to make, and then we're done. We ran. Alright, so this is technically, this is the last decision to actually go with Alisa's route. So we've pretty much perfected her good end by now, so it is to stay on guard. Which we've already read, so skip. Okay, final decision of Alisa's route is to try to find out what Alisa and Lena are arguing about. It doesn't say it has a plus beside it, so I don't think this actually does anything for her route, but it is in the decision list, so we'll do that. And apparent? No, we've seen all this, so it's not letting me skip though. We've already seen this. Okay, so this is day 7 after everyone's already left and we're trying to walk along, and I just found some different dialogue. I can't trust this button anymore right now because it's being its glitchy self for some reason right now. So, woo! But you've already did the thing, you know, got drunk, a little bit, you know, and missed the bus because we were hungover and sleeping in. So, well, yeah, you'll see. I believe at this point it was after we were at the campfire and Alisa tried to walk away without an explanation for whatever I wanted an explanation for, so no way. I lost my temper completely, so I jumped up, ran to her in a couple of strides, grabbed her hand and pulled her towards me. But I had miscalculated the amount of strength I should use, and we fell onto the ground, with Alisa lying beneath me. What, yesterday wasn't enough? Want more? Her face was glowing and her eyes were flashing. I felt really mixed up. I released the girl's hand, but didn't stand up at once. I just want to understand, where did I go wrong? Why are you always thinking that you went wrong somewhere? Because you think so. Who told you that? I didn't. But I can see it. You see everything, don't you? You see and draw conclusions that you shouldn't interfere, that you should lie low, say nothing. I draw conclusions based on logic. Are you sure that logic of yours is correct? I didn't know what to say about that. Sometime we just lay there. I was completely confused, and it seems that Alisa didn't want to continue our conversation. Finally, she pushed me away and stood up. Oh. Why are you here now, with me? Because everyone left the camp and we stayed. I'm not talking about that. Well, because I like you. Finally, he admits it! Finally, I dared to say it directly. Are you sure? And what about Lena? She was always next to you. No, she wasn't! I could see this argument in the first playthrough, but not this. Maybe it's she's too much work. And what about me? I'm very simple. Just snap your fingers and I'm in your bed. Are you saying you like that, or are you assuming it? I wouldn't say it's that simple with her. Don't put words in my mouth. You say nothing, so there's plenty of room there. But you think for a dozen others. Well, she was absolutely right on that point. I'm like that. I didn't think anything like that. So, do I have to simply believe all of this? She's turned British. It was official. It had to happen eventually. You don't have to believe. I'm not forcing you. But it's the truth, so I'm not going to make anything up. Words should be proven with actions. What action is she expecting from me? Well, we could do it again. I mean, if you wanna. I said with a stupid smile. I had no idea how I even dared to think of joking in such a situation. Especially a joke like that. Sure, come on. Lisa said in a calm voice, walked to the fire and started to undress. I jumped up, ran to her, and grabbed her arm. What are you doing? Wait, I didn't mean that. Well, what's the big deal? Don't you need me just for that? Of course not. You get me all wrong. How should I get you then? She pulled her arm free and started crying. I lay down beside her, hugged her, and started patting her head. There. Everything's alright. Calm down. Leave me alone, she said through the tears, but didn't try to free herself. You see, I had a hard life before this camp. I just haven't gotten used to this. I don't know how to act in situations like this. Been alone for a long time. No friends, no loved ones. Just forgotten how to feel and how to love. It's hard for me. It's much easier not to get mixed up in those matters. Finally, it became just normal not to. And here we are, something I never could have imagined. Doesn't mean that I'm an egotistical bastard, although I guess it seems that maybe I am. I just can't do that right away. Alisa didn't reply and continued crying. But I know one thing for sure, there's nothing between me and Lena. She's a friend, nothing more. I never looked at her that way. And I need you, not only for what you think I want. I just don't know how to tell you the things you want to hear. They'd carry obligations. See, I'm in the kind of situation now where I even don't know what will happen to me in the next hour, and here, they seem to me not be listening to me at all, or my excuses just didn't reach her. Well, I should be proud of myself. I made a girl cry. And which girl? Alisa, who at first glance, why would you be proud of yourself? Unless that's like horrible sarcasm. Who at first glance seemed to be a complete stranger to any romantic feelings. You know, I can't make this decision for both of us. I can only say for myself that I'm ready to be with you, to support you, and to protect you. But you, why do you need me? I have nothing in my soul. I don't know what I want from this life. Besides, I'm here now, but tomorrow I might be gone. Lisa stopped crying for a moment. Don't you understand that I made that decision? That I already made that decision a long time ago? Then she looked at me with teary eyes. I might have seen happiness in them for a moment. Fucking Facebook, being integrated with Windows phones. Alisa embraced me and tenderly kissed me. It was the best kiss of my entire life. No, it wasn't as passionate as the one last night, but there was so much tenderness, trust, and love that I just dissolved in her lips, in her arms. Forgot about everything about the camp. I suppose. About my past and the doubts which were tormenting me a moment before. She was all that I needed. Now. And forever. Well, good thing we didn't do it. This kiss might have lasted forever, but suddenly a horn sounded nearby, as if from inside my brain. Also, you see two semi-undressed people in the bushes making out, and you stop your bus to honk at them. Oh, you, sir, are a dick. I turned to the road and saw a bus. An old Diaz. It looked like a regular one. We just lay there and looked at it for some time. Soon, the driver left the bus and shouted at us. Hey, lovebirds! Why do I think he has like a New York accent? Hey, lovebirds! This is the last bus to town. Are you coming? No, we were going to, but then you interrupted us. Shall we go? Alisa said merrily. We jumped up, I grabbed the backpack, and took Alisa by the hand and ran to the bus. In a couple of seconds, we made ourselves comfortable on the back seat. Comfortable. Driver was shouting something from his place, but I didn't listen to him. Here it is, a rescue ship, heading for a new life. I looked at Alisa. I was so eager to say something, to continue the conversation by the fire. She was sleeping peacefully, resting her head on my shoulder. I didn't wake her up. There was no need. We had so much time ahead of us. There was no one in the bus except us. The bus was going fast, leaving behind not only my previous life, but also the week I had spent in the pioneer camp called Sovionic. And I've been saying it Sovionic, and no one's correcting me, so whatever. I went through more during these 7 days than I had throughout all the years in my real life, and how much was still lying ahead in the future. The common country scenery in the window didn't interest me much. I was just watching Alisa peacefully sleeping. My heart was filled with warmth and calmness, and my head finally stopped bursting with thoughts. But happiness is a fragile matter. Many things can destroy it. Time, for example. The longer your happiness lasts, the more common it becomes. Emotions dull, new problems and worries appear. Felt good, but the accumulated exhaustion didn't let me enjoy the moment. I fell asleep. And day ending. I have like one more episode because this one's just about to end. Like in 30 seconds. You know, I'm just gonna end it here because we'll leave this till the last episode. In Elisa's route. It took fucking 3 episodes. So just this week's episodes to get through Elisa's route then. This is coming out on Wednesday. And then Friday will be the final episode. So yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like it if you did. Yeah, cool. Why did I say that? I said that came up. Yeah, whatever. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.